Can I finish, Simone? Will you just shut up for a minute and let me finish?
Pardon me, sir. You don't get to tell me to shut up on national television.
We don't tell people to shut up on this show.
Welcome to today's cable news craziness, where we take a look at some of the craziness that takes place on cable news. Today, MSNBC's Chuck Todd. He is the host of NBC's Meet the Press. He has Ron Johnson on, a senator from Wisconsin, and he is not happy that Ron Johnson would dare question the credibility of the press, and he's very upset about this. Roll it.
You're not trying to overturn the election, you just said. Are you simply trying to curry favor with constituents of the president's? Is that what this is all about? Is this a cynical political ploy?
I'm trying to be transparent. You know, one of the things we found out in our hearing is, you know, the basic allegations kind of fall into three categories. I would say the first is the either violation of or lax enforcement of election law. There is voter fraud. There always is. We had one witness talk about 42,000 people voting twice in Nevada. The other issue
just
really
because
is
you
the
have
fact
somebody
that the courts,
say it didn't make it true.
It's easy.
Senator,
it's
none
easy.
of these allegations. Stop. You don't get to make these allegations that haven't been proven true. Here's what I don't understand. You understand how our government was set up. The reason we have a judiciary is because partisans like yourself weren't going to be trusted by the public to decide who won or lost an election. Let me ask you this. Who carried the state of Wisconsin?
Well, Vice President Biden has won by 20,000 votes. But there are also issues in Wisconsin. One of the things I point out and was revealed in our hearing is I entered in the record 3 letters written by congressional Democrats to the voting machine manufacturers. Now, at that point in time, I didn't hear Chuck Schumer call it quackery or conspiracy theory or, you know, a ridiculous charade. But that's exactly how he attacked my hearing that I thought was a really good hearing that laid out some of the issues. You know, we had Chris Krebs testify. You know, Chris Krebs said, oh, you know, this is the most secure election. But in our hearing, he actually admitted, well, he wasn't talking about potential fraud. He was just looking at hacking. He also admitted that some of these election and tabulation machines are hooked up to the Internet, which privately told me that wasn't the case. So, again, I didn't criticize Democrats when they were talking about potential hacking of voting machines, but now it's quackery, now it's conspiracy theory. That's the problem, Chuck. There's a double standard here, and we are not being transparent, and we are dismissing the concerns of tens of millions of Americans. Again, I didn't light this fire. This fire was lit over 4 years ago, and we have destroyed the credibility of you have destroyed the credibility of the news media by your bias, and of course people like James Comey, Andrew McCabe, John Brennan destroyed the credibility of the FBI and our justice system as well. We have an enormous problem in this country. It's unsustainable, and the only way you solve it is with information and transparency and hearings and investigations. It's not quackery. It's not conspiracy theory. It's what's going to be required.
Let me ask you this. Then why didn't you hold hearings about the 9/11 truthers? There's plenty of people who thought 9/11 was an inside job. So what you're basically saying is that there's enough people who believe in conspiracy theory. If there's enough people who hold,
figure was the most relevant issue.
Are you going to do it? How about the moon landing?
Obviously,
are you going to hold hearings on that?
What I would like to hold hearings on, you know, what I was talking about, and why did we not spend hundreds of billions of dollars exploring early treatment? Why did we vilify doctors who had the courage to treat COVID patients, practice medicine, try and find available, cheap, repurposed drugs to do so? Why? I'd love to hold hearings on that. There are all kinds of things that I'd like to hold hearings on. You have to kind of pick and choose based on priorities. Right now, we have this election. We've got tens of millions of Americans that think this election was stolen. We need to get to the bottom of it. Again, what's explained, we need to explain it, get that off the table. But we also have to acknowledge there were some real problems here. There's some issues that need to be explored and investigated.
You got to ask yourself, when you tell people a million times that something was stolen or something was fraud and then they believe it, I think you need to look in the mirror and ask yourself why so many people believe it.
Chuck, you need to look in your mirror and
Senator Johnson, I've got to go. I appreciate you coming on.
Collusion with the Trump campaign hoax. That is what you did in the media. You carried that water for years. You destroyed the credibility of the press.
Senator Johnson, other than crediting you for coming on, I appreciate that, because only 2 of your colleagues had the guts to say yes this weekend about this conspiracy theory that you're working on. Thanks for coming on. That I appreciate. When we come back, I'm going to talk to both.
The little shot at the end here at Johnson for coming on the program and saying that other senators wouldn't come on the program. Well, there's a good reason for that. Look at the behavior of Chuck Todd. This is supposed to be a straight news interview, and instead he is badgering a United States senator for daring to disagree with him. And what he's most upset, and you can see the anger build over this very long clip, is that Senator Johnson points out that Chuck Todd and his colleagues are responsible for the destruction of the trust in American institutions. It starts with the media, and they did it with the government as well. They implied for years that the 2016 election was stolen, that everybody was working with those rascally Russians to undermine America, its democracy, and voting, and they only dropped that when Joe Biden appeared to win an election. What Senator Johnson is saying to Chuck Todd is that there are a lot of questions here that need to be answered, and there is absolutely no reason not to have those questions answered. And for Chuck Todd to compare this to 9/11 truthers and the moon landing and other things just goes to show you what a fraud Chuck Todd can be at times. This is not about getting to the bottom of anything. This is about ending the conversation. They want to end this conversation as soon as they possibly can so they can move on to being lapdogs for Joe Biden. The American media has spent 4+ years attacking the person who was the president of the United States, and now they will spend the next 4+ years trying their best to make the president look good. They have made that clear that this is their mission, and they are now moving forward with that mission. As soon as they finish off Donald Trump, they will flip the script, and Joe Biden will be there to save us from everything Donald Trump did. And the American media cannot pretend that they have credibility here. They've given all of that up, and that's why Chuck Todd is so mad. Now you have Republicans acting like Donald Trump acted with them in 2015 and 2016. Calling them out directly to their face. No longer taking that polite position where you say, well, I disagree with you, but I guess it's your show, so go right ahead. Now they say directly to their face, you're lying. This is your fault. You didn't have to do what you did before, and now look how biased and hypocritical you're being. Kudos to Ron Johnson for saying this to Chuck Todd, and I really feel bad for everyone sharing this Chuck Todd clip today on social media, pretending that it makes Chuck Todd look good. It doesn't. It exposes him for the fraud that he is. It exposes the media for the frauds that they are, and this stuff will not stop. It will only continue because they know they have to try to control this conversation. The minute they lose control of the conversation, it's all going to come tumbling down. And I'm not talking about the election. Joe Biden will be sworn in. You heard Chuck Todd say, very simply, this is not about overturning the election. It is about making it clear that there were some things that took place here that should not have taken place here. So he's not trying to overturn the election. Everyone accepts that, and they still don't want to get to the bottom of this. Why? Why don't they want to get to the bottom of this? Shouldn't they want to know what's going on in our electoral system and make sure that if it wasn't right, it doesn't happen again? And then, maybe, if what happened there was right, maybe that's an affirmation. Maybe Chuck Todd's right for once. Why would he not want a hearing that plays that out? And you know, it's odd. These people wanted hearings for the Ukraine. They wanted hearings for the Russians. They wanted hearings for all sorts of things that didn't pan out. But for this, they've decided there's no reason to even have a conversation. You have to ask yourself why. And Ron Johnson hits a home run here when he says the credibility of America and its institutions is the fault of the American media, who has clearly chosen sides here and doesn't look at facts anymore. It is about pushing a political agenda, and that's what Chuck Todd is doing here. It's all laid bare for all of us to see. And we will continue laying it bare right here on Cable News Craziness. All you have to do is like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment, and come on back tomorrow. Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for my friends at University Kia. And listen, I've been driving Kias for years, over a decade, actually way longer than that, and I absolutely love it. My wife made me get a Telluride for her. It's an amazing vehicle, my favorite Kia that they have ever made. Grant, my son, loves it as well. It's big, it's roomy, and it's amazing. The best part about University Kias, though, is they'll help you find the car that works for you and your family. So head on down to University Kia today. Check them out online at University Kia.